Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this. Hi! Welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
And Becky.
Hey. We've had an interesting one at the start of this, haven't we?
Yeah.
All a bit flustered. But it's all good. We let it all go.
We did. You know.
We accepted the situation.
We did. She's clever.
And so, as you all probably know, we are talking about acceptance today.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's been on our to-do list for a while, hasn't it?
But keeps coming up.
But we keep, as we've told you guys, we don't ever plan these podcasts. No. We walk in and we don't know what we're going to be talking about. And so for a while, though, acceptance has been coming up for us. And we're like, right, we've got to do a podcast on that. And then something's popped in right at the last minute. And we're like, no, we obviously need to talk about this. But today, it is acceptance time. We've accepted that the time is for acceptance. I'm going to stop making these corny jokes. That's horrible. It's horrible. I'm so sorry. Okay, right. So, we don't really know where we're going, but we're going to start riffing on it because everything at the moment in what we're talking about, like what's going on with our lives, what's going on with how working with the clients that I'm working with, acceptance is a big piece to this. And I think that whatever you're working on, it always comes down to acceptance. Yeah. But it's not, I'm not making another one of my stupid jokes here, but it's not always easy to accept acceptance. No. That's the work, right? But if you at least know that you're aiming to get to a state of acceptance, you're on it's going to help you with the work that you have to do to get there.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Exactly. That makes perfect sense. Instead of just, I think that's easier than say, like, you know how you sort of think maybe the root of everything is like self-worth, self-love. That's a lot harder to understand how you get to that, isn't it?
Yes.
Whereas when you say self-acceptance, it's like about all those elements of you and learning to accept and love each bit of you, which makes more sense to me than just, it's self-love. Get back to self-love.
100%.
You know, it's a bit more...
It's tangible, isn't it? And it's interesting because, again, this is where we're going to start talking about acceptance in different ways. Because straight away, when I say acceptance to you, you go straight to self-acceptance.
Yes.
Now, with me, because of, I suppose, what I'm working on in myself at the moment... I go to acceptance of what is, acceptance of situations more. And this is what we're saying, like acceptance works in all areas. And so I think it would be really helpful for us to speak about both of our views of acceptance, your self-acceptance, my acceptance of situations. It's all acceptance. But once you start doing that, you see how it's kind of the end point. It's the end goal of everything, I think, because when you accept something, you can just be. Yeah. You can let go. There's no resistance. And then life flows. Yeah. And at the end of the day, everything we talk about, all of the different concepts that we speak about, the personal development side, the spiritual side, all comes down to getting us all to a point where we can just live a life of joy, excitement, fulfillment, peace, all of those things that we all want. And even when I say it, people are like, oh God, a life of joy, really? Like, yeah, we can actually do that. That's the goal. Like, that's whether you're conscious of it or not, that's what you're all after. That's what you want. That's what your soul wants. But it's just, we've got to get out of our own way, and we've got to get rid of all the programming, the beliefs, the fears, and acceptance is going to get you there really quickly. It's like, I think that it's taken me quite a while to get to this point of being able to
why is this just coming up in our sort of journey now when it's such a massive thing? It's like never really been in my awareness as much until now, and this has been years, and now it's finally dawned on me, even though you already know that.
Yes, and you are, as you're doing the work, you are coming to some kind of acceptance in some way, but I think maybe it's taken us this far along in our journey because we've in this time period of, what is it now, like 6 years, 6 years, we've been clearing away all the stuff that I've just said, the fears, the beliefs. And so now, because we've cleared a lot of that, not all, never all, but because we've cleared a lot of that, we are now able to see through it and see that acceptance is that kind of the end goal, and be able to start accepting the fact that we have to accept. And even being able to, because I think when you've got all of these fears and beliefs and all of that kind of stuff, it's really hard to come to accept it. It stops you, it blocks you from that acceptance because you can't get past them, because they're so strong and they have such a hold on you. And I suppose that's the point of this episode. If what we're talking about now in acceptance, I mean, we haven't got into it, so it's a big word, and you're probably like, what do you even mean by that? Well, we're going to explain, don't worry. But if you are at a point where you're like, but how do I accept? And you've got a particular situation or something about yourself that you feel like, how do I ever accept that? This is the whole point of doing the work, working on your limiting beliefs, working on your conditioning, working on your programming, working on pushing past your fears, working on, loving yourself. It all leads to you being able to accept yourself more. And it's not, you can't just say, right, I want to accept. I'm going to accept it. You can't. It's a journey. But I think what's the reason for this podcast and why we want to talk about this is that if you know ultimately that what you're working towards with all the work that you're doing on yourself is to come to a sense of acceptance, you're probably going to get there a lot quicker.
Yeah, true.
I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because so I think, why not share, seeing as we said, you said your self-acceptance. I had my acceptance come up. Let's talk about both of them because then it's tangible. You guys might be able to just go, oh God, that really resonates with me. So acceptance first came up because I had this aha moment of this whole thing that I've been working on for a lot of period of time. And I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this in a podcast before. I'm always quite open with it, though it's one of my deepest root kind of fears that I know is a pattern of behavior for me, and I know that I want to clear. And it's taken a lot of time to clear it, and I'm still not there, but I feel like I'm digging deeper and deeper, and I'm getting deeper. And so how this kind of acceptance came to me, this realization, and actually changed everything, was that the issues that kept coming up for me, which was always it's playing out at the moment in the business side of things for me, because that's where my focus is right now. So before I was on this mission, this journey of doing what I'm doing now with the hypnotherapy and the helping people and all of that, it was coming out in my relationship because that was my focus. That was I wasn't working, well I was, but it wasn't filling me up, it wasn't lighting me up, that's for sure. And so that was my main focus. So okay, so now it's coming out of my business, and this is again how you can see that you haven't, it's a repeating pattern. It's not always the same thing. So at the moment, if you think, you're having a problem with a relationship, don't think that it's about your relationship. True. It's not. It's you, it's your beliefs, because if that relationship ended, it would transfer over onto something else, like whatever was then your new focus, it will go over to that. So that's a really good way of identifying your patterns when they start jumping from different focuses. And so effectively what my pattern was is that in my business now, because I can talk about it because this is what's currently going on, is it ends up with me procrastinating, with me putting a lot of pressure on myself because I'm not doing enough, I'm not achieving enough, I'm not reaching enough people, and then because I have all of this pressure and this worry, I'm like, and now I'm not going to be making enough money, and what if there's not enough clients, and what if I don't bring in enough money? I'm being very I'm being very open here, and these are my deepest, darkest things that I'm dealing with right now. And because of all those worries, and because of all those fears, and because of my beliefs, it sends me into a a state of overwhelm. I go in on myself and I start beating myself up. I lose my in touch with the present moment, and I start kind of projecting anxiety into the future, or thinking about all the things that I've kind of done in the past, and look, I'm doing it again. It just that negative self-talk. And for me now, because I've been doing this work for so long, I can clearly see where everything's coming from. I can see where all my beliefs are. I'm like, oh, Tasha, you get your worth from achieving things because you grew up as being a high achiever, as a good girl, did well in school, you were praised for that, so that's where I get my worth from. And so if I'm not doing or achieving, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. So I know all of this, so which is great, because I can kind of put in the work, I can understand why I'm doing it. But then what I really got down to when I was trying to break it down, and this is what I do with my clients, we're like, right, this is how it's just manifesting surface level, all the things I've just said. But what is it that's on a deeper level?
Right.
What is it that's affecting me, right? So I'm like, okay, if I don't have my clients, I'm not good enough. But also, if I don't have more clients, if I don't reach more people, if I don't do, I'm not going to make money. Oh, okay, money, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Real big thing about money and, earning enough, not earning enough, there not being enough. But why is that? Because that's still a surface level thing. What goes deeper than that? It's my survival. Okay, right. So if I don't earn enough money, or if I'm not earning enough to contribute effectively, where I would get down to is my marriage is going to dissolve. I'm going to have so my husband's the main earner in our relationship, right? So I'm not good enough. My husband's going to leave me. I mean, it's ridiculous. This sounds ridiculous, but this is what's going on a subconscious level. I'm not thinking this consciously in my mind every day. I'm just thinking, oh, why can't I put out that social media post? But what's going on underneath is that, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not bringing in enough money. I'm not achieving enough. And then he's going to think that I'm not good enough, I'm not achieving enough, and because I'm not bringing in enough money, he's going to leave me. Oh, then what am I going to do? Because then I really haven't got enough money, and then I'm going to be homeless, and I'm not going to survive, and I'm going to be destitute. And that right there is my end fear that's driving all of that behavior of me going, why can't I just post on social media, or me sitting in front of the telly going, oh, I just feel really, I can't watch the telly, I can't concentrate because I should be doing this, or I should be putting out this post, or why am I not getting more followers? Because if I don't get more followers, right, all of that is coming from, I'm going to be homeless, destitute, have no money, and I'm not going to survive. And that has been driving me since my adult life, but it's been going on since I was a child, because I think, as I've shared before, I remember so clearly being 4 years old. I can see where I was in the house when I was thinking these thoughts and thinking, I'm going to be a doctor because I don't want to ever have to rely on a man. I want to earn my own money, and I'm going to be a doctor because that's a good career, so I can always look after myself, and I'll always be safe, and I'll always never have to rely on anyone else for my safety. At 4. So now what really annoys me, and it frustrates me, is that I still haven't got back to why I had that thought at 4. Something happened to me. I heard something, I saw something with my mum and dad, most likely, that made me feel at 4 years old that I had to have a good job and have money so that I could survive, that I couldn't rely on anyone else. Now, ironically, fast forward into my life, I went to med school, great, was going to become a doctor, felt good because I'm like, I'm doing it, I'm going to be safe, don't have to rely on any man. And then I left med school, got married at 22, worked for a year, but then got pregnant and became a housewife with no job, completely reliant on my husband. So I had financially relied on my husband. So it was like some kind of horrible self-fulfilling prophecy. My fear of 4 years old was being reliant on a man, and I actually ended up in that exact position. So I say that I've been living that fear of I'm going to be destitute and homeless for the whole of my adult life, but I've actually been living it since I was 4 and probably before. Do you see how? these subconscious blocks and this programming has so much control over your life. So it's kept me in this prison almost of, this is your belief, this is your fears, and so I've created it for myself because I had that belief that if I, am reliant on someone else, if that's not, I'm going to lose my survival. If I can't look after myself, if I'm relying on someone else, I'm not safe, basically.
Yes.
And I've created that for myself. Now, where does this come? Where does the acceptance come into it, right? So that's a big, long-winded story, but hopefully it's demonstrated how our beliefs can really shape our reality again, and how they start so early, right? But the acceptance part, okay. So what I had been resisting all along was, because I've known for a long time, I've came to that realization years ago. Oh, I'm scared of my survival. I'm scared.
Yeah.
But what I was resisting is leaning into that fear of actually being homeless on the streets, because that's my fear.
Yeah.
I won't survive. I'll be homeless on the streets and I won't survive effectively. It even goes homeless on the streets, and then the last point is I won't survive. That's the part, right? So I knew that, but the aha moment came recently with the acceptance of, okay, so all I have to do is feel into that fear of being destitute on the streets. Because every time I went there, I was like, oh my God, that's so scary. Bounce away from there. Bounce away. So I was never accepting it. Right. But when I actually was like, I sat there and I went, oh, right, geez, yeah. I've been left. So my husband's gone. Oh, I've got no house. I've lost, I can't make any money. I've lost my job now because I've gone so far down that I can't even help do my job anymore. And now I'm actually living on the streets. Oof. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could happen. But I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
I won't stay there.
And you'd never just gone that little bit further.
No. And as soon as I accepted, oh, wow, yeah, that could happen. As soon as I accepted that and let myself feel it, everything, that fear, I've got goosebumps all over my leg. That fear just disintegrated. It shattered into a million pieces and just melted away. And I was like, I'd deal with it. Yeah. I'd do something. Because I know I'm resilient. I know I am. Intellectually, I know if I get into a spot of bother, where did that come from? I don't know where that came from. If I get into such hard times or trouble, I know time and time again, I've got myself out of it. Yeah. And I've grown from it. And I'm strong. And a lot of the time I carry others with me as well. So I know I can do it. But I never let myself get to the point where I could remind myself of that. And so now I have really found a sense of freedom, because when I feel those fears coming in, oh God, you haven't got a client this week. Oh no, straight away, oh, I'm going to be destitute now. I'm like, what? I'm not going to be destitute. And if I am, fine, I'll deal with it. Yeah. And the fear just goes. That was the power of acceptance for me. And so that's one example of how it was like an aha moment. Yeah. But I've been working on this a lot. As I said, I say before, my clients are my teachers as well. And this has been coming up a lot for my clients. Now, giving you another example, and then we'll go on to your self-acceptance. Yeah. Because this kind of bridges it, right? So that was very much still, it is self-acceptance, because it's accepting my fear of my survival, but it's actually linked to a scenario, my business, basically, which manifests in my business. And we're not just talking about accepting, because I could speak about as well as what I realised there was that I feel like I need to have someone else to keep me safe. Mm-hmm. And I don't, and accept that part of myself. And as soon as I accept that that's what I feel like, I can say, oh, no, but I don't actually, because all through my life, I'm the only one that's ever kept me safe. I've made everything happen. It's been me that's made things happen, and I'm always going to be all right. So I accept, anyway. Yeah. But with my clients, and again, this might give you something to relate to, a lot of what I work on is a big one at the moment is this fear of judgment. We all have a fear of judgment to some extent. Some people have it a lot worse than others. And a lot of people I work with do have a real big fear of judgment. Then it hinders them. They can't. And effectively what it does is it prevents you from being your true authentic self. When you're worried about judgment, you start becoming a people pleaser. You start morphing yourself into what you think other people want from you. You dim your light, you dim yourself, because you're like, well, I can't be that true me, because they might judge me for that, so I'll just be small and I'll just be a small part of myself. And then it ends up that you lose yourself, and then you don't know who you are. And that's a whole nother thing. I mean, this is where most people are. This is what I'm doing when I'm working with people. I'm helping them understand and bring back who they actually are.
Because how can you accept yourself if you don't actually know who you are?
Yes, and this is what we were saying before, wasn't it? So fear of judgment then. What I always say, and I put out a social media post about this the other day because it just kept coming up, and I was like, I just need to share this. But again, this shows you where acceptance can really, really help you. So when we're scared of people judging us, we do everything we can to make sure that they don't. But the problem is that we think we know what people are judging us on. Remember, though, we are everything that's coming, that we are picking up, everything that we're experiencing is just a projection of what's going on inside of us. So other people are only reflecting back to us what we are thinking of ourselves. So you could be walking around thinking people are judging you for having your hair a certain way, or judging you for the way you eat your food, right? But actually nobody's thinking that. It's something that you're not accepting in yourself. It's something that you don't like about yourself, and so you're using other people to reflect it back to you, right? But then at the same time, there's also things that you have no problem with in yourself and you're not even aware of, but somebody else might be looking at it and thinking, God, I hate that she wears that red jumper all the time. I really hate that red jumper. But you love your red jumper. So again, people are judging you, but because you're not aware of it, because it's not a problem within you, you are none the wiser. It doesn't affect you. You don't care, right?
So if you can get to that with everything,
but what it really comes down to again is going deep down, like I did when I got to the root of, I'm not going to be safe. I'm not going to survive. Basically, when I got to that level and accepted that could be a reality, that could very well be a reality, and I accepted that, I was freed from it. Right. The same as if you can accept that people are always going to judge you, that people are judging you. If you can accept that, you're free from it again.
Okay.
People are going to judge me. It doesn't matter what I do, people will still judge me, and sometimes I'll be aware of it and sometimes I won't. But actually, if you accept that people are going to judge you, you think, what's the point in me trying to bend and change my behavior, because I can't stop it anyway. Just accept it. And that's always a real massive aha moment for my clients when I work with them, because what can you do to them? What can you do?
No.
Like, what is the point if you accept that someone's going to judge you for wearing your crazy shoes that you like to wear? I don't know why it's all about clothing, but if you accept that someone's going to judge you for wearing them, then you're just like, well, I may as well wear them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can go deeper. It goes deeper and deeper. Now, listen, again, like I said at the beginning, yes, it's easier said than done to just say, accept it.
Yeah.
There is a journey to get you there. And that's the whole point of doing the work that I do with removing these subconscious beliefs, reprogram these subconscious beliefs, healing the inner child, coming to an understanding of why you have this fear of judgment. Because then when you do that, it helps you to be able to accept. Acceptance is a process. You have to do certain things to get to acceptance. But again, reiterating what we said in the beginning, if you know that ultimately that's your goal, to get to accept whatever it is, whether it's accept you as a whole person, which you're going to be talking about, like your personal stuff, like, so whether it's that, whether accepting that you are worried that you're going to not be safe and you're not going to survive, whether it's accepting that people are going to judge you, whether it's accepting that, like, whatever, if you know that ultimately you're working towards that acceptance, it's going to make the journey probably quicker. You're probably going to take a few steps out. But yes, I do want to acknowledge that to get there, you do have to start breaking down your beliefs and changing them, just like I broke down my belief, and I went from, why am I procrastinating on my social media posts, to, oh, it's because I can't survive. I'm worried that I'm not going to survive. You know, that's what you have to do. And you can do that on your own. You absolutely can do that on your own. It is easier if you have someone else to help you, because you can't see what you can't see. And also, I've done a lot of my work through hypnosis. I make my own hypnosis audios. I'm reprogramming my mind as I sleep. I'm good at identifying now where subconscious beliefs are held and how they're held and how they're learned, just because I do it every day. I know what I'm doing. So it makes it a lot easier for me to do that work on my own. But when I see that my clients come in with these fears and the way that they can change in 3 months, things that they have not even been aware of, for a start, beliefs that they had no idea they had, and behaviors they've been doing for decades, and then they start changing it in 3 months. It's because we address their past childhood traumas. It's because we address their subconscious beliefs. It's because we reprogram their beliefs, and we're doing the work constantly, repetition on a daily basis. We're breaking down, where is this actually coming from, because it's not manifesting in the fact that you just feel really resentful to your partner, or you feel like nobody listens to you. There's things that are set behind it. But anyway, so
you'll see the evidence as you go along that journey, aren't you? For the work that you're doing, you keep getting given the evidence to push you to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, because it works.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, for me now, having that massive aha around the acceptance of, oh, okay, so I could be homeless, and I'll fix it. I'll be okay. Having that aha. And by the way, survival is our biggest fear. Most fears will come from our need for survival. We're animals. And that is actually where most of our fears come from. Everything stems from that. So for me, it was really lucky. It's great that I got my acceptance on that level, because everything else is just easy compared to that. But I have something tangible now to relate back to. Every time I'm in a situation, I'm like, oh, just go deeper and accept whatever the ultimate fear is that you feel. Accept. So I'm always pushing myself now to, where's that acceptance? What is it that I need to accept? Because I know the freedom that it gives now. So that's really, really helpful for me, because I've had a taste of it. And like you said, once you experience it, you see that it works, you can replicate it. And that's what this is. All this learning is about seeing it happen and then replicating it. But do you want to talk about how, so then when I was having my own acceptance thing, you had a completely different view of it yourself?
At the same time, it seemed to be a realization I'd come to. Of course, it's to do with my children again. I'm banging on about them again. But it was just a really clear example to me how important acceptance was. So I've got 2 children, both with similar problems. So both at home, homeschool, ADHD, bit of autism sprinkled in. Same problems, but my daughter, Nicole, I can see clearly she accepts herself. She accepts that this is the way she is, and she's found a way to play to her strengths, and she knows what she wants, she knows what she likes, she knows what she doesn't like, and she's not trying to be anybody else, and she's just grateful. She's grateful to be able to do those things by coming home and understanding all of that about herself and how she works. And so she's thriving at home. It's working. My son can't accept who he is. So he's always fighting with himself. So instead of thinking like her, oh, okay, so I don't like this, but I like that. I don't work well with this, but I work well with that. And aren't I lucky now? I can change my environment to work for me. He is fighting against it because he doesn't want to be that person. So I can clearly see where his mental health, he got depressed as opposed to Nick, who didn't get depression, is because he cannot accept these things about himself. So just things like social situations. He thinks he should be able to do these things, whereas Nicole will be like, I don't like that, I'm not going to go to that, and that's okay because I like doing this over here. I'm going to do my crocheting. Classic, yeah. Whereas Harry's like, I should want to go to that party.
Yeah.
I don't want to go, but I don't want to admit that I don't want to go. So I'm going to get myself in this whole big upset within myself, because instead of viewing it as I don't want to go, so I'm not going to go and I'm going to do something I do like, he's left feeling bad about himself, shame, like we were talking about earlier, shaming himself all the time, therefore mental health declining. And I can just so clearly see, having two kids side by side, having the same upbringing more or less. I know it's different for both children, but I can see where the root is, why one is doing well and the other is struggling, and it's clearly self-acceptance. It's so clear to me that that's the root of their mental health, and why Harry got so poorly and Nick's got better. So therefore now I'm thinking about myself now, thinking, now you see how powerful that is, the two examples of one thriving and one, declining, or one struggling. You think, okay, you realise how important it is for yourself to try and accept who you are. But, there's so many elements, isn't there?
Yes. This is very general, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like accepting all those pieces of you. I liked that speech that, not Mel Gibson, what's the other one? Robert Downey Jr., when he accepted an award, and he said that Mel Gibson had really helped him and taught him to hug the cactus. And that one sticks with me. It's like loving all those bits. That doesn't mean that that's who you continue to be, but all the mistakes you've made. You can imagine Robert Downey Jr., all the things he's done that he's ashamed of. But to hug those bits that you don't want to hug and let it go, like you just said. Accept that that's what you did and it wasn't very nice, but love it, not do it again, and then, as you said, it disappears. It's the fear, isn't it? It's the fear. You don't want to revisit that time because you did that thing.
It's uncomfortable. We're feeling the feelings as if they were happening right now.
Oh no, let's pretend that I didn't do that, even though I know deep down that I did, and it hasn't gone away.
And this is like, so what you said there, like my mind, when you were talking, like,
I can see.
But you've just brought up so many good points, and it all comes down to, I just kept hearing this word, resistance. Because resistance to me feels like the opposite of acceptance, doesn't it? Because if you're in resistance, you're not accepting anything. As soon as you let go of resistance, you get to acceptance. And it's like the hug the cactus thing. I love that. The kind of world of self-help and the self-healing journey, it gets a bit toxic, can get a bit toxic. And I'm experiencing it from myself. It's like you can do all this surface level work and you're like, oh yeah, I feel so great. Oh, look at me, I'm healing, I don't know what to do. But actually that cactus is the shadow version of you. You don't want to see that. You won't see that. Any work that if there's anything right now that you are thinking, I really need to work on that, but no, I don't want to do that. That's boring. I'll go over here instead and I'll do this work on myself because that feels easy. Anything that you find yourself going, no, I won't do that right now. I don't want that. That's your shadow. That's the one you need to go into. That's the cactus. You need to go and hug that one immediately because that's where you're going to get the best and the deepest transformation. And it's hard. Nobody wants to really, really look at their shadow for the reasons you've just said. It's uncomfortable. It makes us feel those feelings of shame, of guilt, of all of the things that you just don't want to feel. But actually what you've got to do is you've got to go in and you've got to love that part of you. As soon as you love it and you acknowledge it and you feel it, just like I felt that feeling of I'm going to be on the streets. it disappears. Like the whole time we're hiding that shadow and we're keeping it hidden. No, I don't want to look at that. I don't want other people to see that. I certainly don't want to see it. And you keep it down. You're never gonna be your true self. You're never gonna fully accept yourself, because that shadow is part of you. It is who it. We are so used to in this world seeing things as good and bad, light and dark. You know, it's not. We've said this before. Everything's neutral. It's what you put on it. We are all fundamentally, I truly believe we are perfect. I've said this before. I see everybody. It's one of my gifts, thank God I have, where I can see the light, I can see the goodness in everyone. I really can.
Yeah, she can. I can vouch for that. It's very annoying sometimes.
Because I see it, I believe it, and the bad parts of us are always gonna, they make us who we are. If you didn't do those things, you wouldn't learn from them and do better next time.
Yeah.
And if you're hiding them and you're not accepting them, you're not accepting yourself.
No.
And you're never truly going to be happy. You're never truly going to live up to your potential, because that's part of you and you have to address it. And this is really, really difficult, because this is what we're resisting. And I know there's like parts of me which I'm not even aware of, like shadowy parts that I am trying to stuff down.
Yeah.
What my intention always is now, though, is like, because like I said, the toxic, you know, when you first start getting into this journey, I'm like, yeah, like this is easy. I'm doing this. Oh yeah, look, I'm speaking up for myself now, or I love myself now. Like, no, you get to the deep shadowy parts, you have no idea. So my intention now is I'm done with the surface level stuff. Show me my deepest, darkest, horriblest stuff. Like, show it to me. I want to work on it. And again, I'm using other people to help me do this. So if I find that what other people are doing, certain behaviors trigger me, I'm like, this is my shadow. This is my shadow coming out to play. How can I love that? How can I accept that? This is the work that I'm doing now. It's very different. It's really different, but it's actually really satisfying, because actually when you start doing that, not only do you have more love and acceptance for yourself, but you also get more compassion for other people as well, which is why I can skip around going, it's fine, they're all right, they don't bother me, because I see it as part of me. And it makes you a better person. It makes you someone that people want to be around, because when you fully accept yourself, you're reflecting that back to other people, and you're helping other people accept themselves. You don't realize you're doing it, but people like how you make them feel. What is it? Is it Maya Angelou that said, people will never remember what you did, they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that's so true. It is, and people love being around people who are authentic, who accept themselves, because it makes them be able to do the same for them. And I want everyone to be able to be their authentic self. I want everybody to accept who they are and see themselves the way I see them. And so when I'm going about my day, I'm always like, how can I accept myself so other people can accept themselves as well? Bit of a tangent we've gone off on there, but I think it's that acceptance, isn't it? And this resistance. So Harry is completely resisting who he is. He thinks he should be this certain person, like whatever he thinks he should be for whatever reason. And what he's actually resisting is his true, authentic self, which is something very different, but where all his gifts are, where all his potential lies, where all his happiness and fulfillment and peace and satisfaction lies. And he is resisting it. Because he thinks he should be over here. If he can get to accept himself for who he is, and again, like I've said, I appreciate you can't just say, Harry, accept yourself. It's a journey, and he's going to have to get there. And he's learning. It's a slower progress than Nick, but he's still doing it. But again, it all just goes to show that if you can have this goal of acceptance whilst you're doing the inner work that you're doing right now, it's really going to be very helpful for you, and you're going to get there a lot quicker than I did. For sure. But another thing I wanted to say as well, and again, just like as a little tip now, which I like to think of, is where am I resisting? So think now, what in your life do you keep banging up against? Like, what are you doing that is a struggle, that is hard, that deep down that voice inside you is going, this isn't right, this isn't right. But there's loads of stories and there's loads of voices in your head that's going, yeah, but you can't stop that, because if you do that, you're going to do this, and that's not going to work, because, you know, you're going to have, there's loads of stories in your mind telling you why you have to keep sticking at it, keep working, keep pushing through. But actually, if you really pay attention and push those voices out and pay attention to inside you, that quiet voice, that feeling, however you get your intuition, it's going to be telling you, this isn't right, something has to change. You've got to stop. That's your voice of acceptance trying to come through.
Right.
Stop resisting it. If something's not working, you are resisting something somewhere, let go of it. Let go. And that's when things can start. Like, for example, again, with me, we were just talking about this before, weren't we? Perfect example of this, right? I had in my mind that I have to create a group program, that I realized that I want to work with more people. I want, like, what I'm doing, the changes that I'm making with my one-to-one clients, I want to have more, I want more people to have it. There's only one of me. There's only so much time that I have and so much energy that I have, more importantly, for this work. I can't scale it. There's only a certain number of people I can help. It's not satisfying me anymore. I want to help more people. But for me, I was thinking in my logical mind, right, well, it needs to be a group program, and I need to create a group program, right? And so for a long, long time, I've been like, Bex, I need to create a group program, but I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how it's going to work. And I've been focusing my attention on it, and it's not been coming to me easily. And Bex knows, for me, like, I'll get an idea and I'll just be like, I'm doing it. And I've done it before I've even finished telling her that I'm doing it. And it's done, it's easy, it's quick. This has been like, it's hard work. And what I realised was, well, finally, after a long time, why am I resisting this? Like, this isn't working. Let go. Stop resisting. This group thing isn't working. And as soon as I let go of that and I stopped resisting, you know, the whole group thing, let go. And then all of a sudden, things came in for the podcast. People are contacting me, asking me, can I be a guest on your podcast? Can I be a guest on your podcast? Nudges saying, we've got to get guests on our podcast. I'm like,
it's like a gate, like you just release something and a gate opens to...
Yes, because when you're in resistance, it's like, if you can imagine, almost like a tunnel. And it gets really, really small, like tunnel vision. And the only thing you can see is what you think you're just trying to battle at. As soon as you let go of resistance, that tunnel just becomes a wide open field. And then all of a sudden, the universe can send you things that you're supposed to have, right? So when I was in resistance, the universe is like, I can't send you anything, because even if I do, you're not going to see it anyway. So true, you know, and there probably was getting sent things, but I wasn't paid, because I was so stuck on this one thing. It was bouncing off. And then eventually, what's the point? So as soon as I let go, the universe is like, oh, finally, right, now we've got some space. Let's pass it to her. And because I'm in that state of acceptance of, well, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to do a group program. Fine. Not right now anyway. Okay, fine. Then I can see what I'm supposed to do, and then I can run with it, and then I can do it.
And I expect your vibration goes up as well once you release that.
Of course,
you are going to be vibrating higher, and then attract that back. It's just all working, isn't it?
It's all working, and everything comes much more easily when you let go and you accept. I'm resisting here. If you keep resisting, you're never going to move forward. So, like Harry. So you're seeing Nick thrive, but Harry is going, it's like a push-pull, isn't it? Push-pull. No, I'm going to do this. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And you can, but you're not going to go anywhere. And resistance, if you're feeling resistance anywhere, let go. And again, easier said than done. But it really, really helps if you work on your beliefs that there's a higher intelligence, a higher force, whatever at play that's helping you. That things are always working out, a belief that things are always working out for you. Something that I try and I do program into all of my clients' subconscious mind. Because I always say to them, just imagine, sit here now and imagine, like, just like you've got a belief that the sky is blue, and the sky will always be blue. Imagine that you had that certainty, that belief that things are always working out for you. Imagine what that would feel like.
Yeah.
That everything could be collapsing around you. But if you have a belief that things are always working out for you, you can be that person who just rides the waves, knowing and trusting that on the other side it's going to be freaking amazing. You can have that. It's possible. I've programmed my mind to have that. That's what helps me with the letting go, with the release and resistance, because I trust. Doesn't matter. Like, my fears still come in. Oh, well, that's not going to work. It's going to fail. Because let's be honest, the podcast. So that's what I wanted to say quickly, just jumping back. So my whole point was I wanted to create a program because I wanted to reach more people. But then think about it, with the podcast, which has now come in when I let go of that, how many people can you reach with a podcast, for goodness sake? It's just because it wasn't in my logical mind. That wasn't the way that I wanted to get there. But because I have that trust, that belief that the universe is always conspiring to help me, that I have unseen guidance in other dimensions, in other realms, whatever, that are helping me and giving me breadcrumbs and little steps. They are passing things my way and my higher self, like my soul knows, my soul is guiding me as well. All of these things are helping me. I trust that. I have rewired my subconscious mind over these years to believe that, like I believe the sky is blue, which makes letting go of resistance and following the guidance so much easier to do than someone who doesn't have that belief. And I can vouch for that, because I was the person that didn't have that belief, that didn't believe that there was anything after this, that we were here on our own, life was it, and that was it, you were done, and life's a bitch and then you die. That's what my programming was. Thanks, Mum.
I bet people can't believe that about you.
Yeah, I know. Life's a bitch and then you die. Brilliant. So I have been on both sides. Now I'm like, no, life's freaking amazing and it's always working out for me, and I've got so many people that love me, and I trust it. So I can trust and let go that when I've come up against that resistance for the group program, I know that something's going to come in its place, and a day, every time, without fail, because I still go into resistance even after all this. No one's perfect. We're humans. It's going to happen. You have to keep repeating it. But every time I let go and get to that place of acceptance, something comes in immediately that I'm like, oh, there it is, and I trust it. So again, you want to start, all that to say, if you want to get to a place of acceptance and let go of resistance, you have to start working on your beliefs that there is something there that is helping you out, that this life is inherently a good place. But also remember, go back and listen to our episode on you're creating your own reality. You are creating your own reality. So life can be a really shitty, horrible, tough, suffering type place if you believe it to be. But if you believe it to be a place where you can create anything you want, you're a co-creator with this higher intelligence, this higher force, that life gets to be full of joy, fun, and blah 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 blah, whatever. If you believe that, that is also what your life will be like. This is why beliefs are so important. This is why I do what I do. I feel like I am so freaking lucky that I've stepped into this and I've come to this understanding, and then also I have a skill where I can actually help change people's beliefs and change my own beliefs. I because it's the foundation of your reality. Your beliefs are, you've got to change them, you've got to address them. So we can talk about acceptance and we can talk about letting go and resistance, but if you don't address the beliefs behind it, it's going to be tough. It's going to be harder than it needs to be. And like I said, you can absolutely start changing your beliefs on your own, but it is much easier to do it with someone who knows what they're doing.
Especially hypnotherapy, amazing. Talking straight to the subconscious.
And there's other modes, there's other modalities. It's whatever works for you. It's whatever you feel drawn to, I think. For me, this is just my thing. But it's so clear to me. It's so easy to me to be like, well, it's just a way that I can help someone access their subconscious. I can help you access your childhood memories, can help you heal your inner child, see your beliefs, and then reprogram them for you, everything's so much quicker, and you'll get to that acceptance quicker. But that doesn't mean that the journey is over once you've done that work. It's not.
No.
Because there's always other levels. You're always leveling up, and then you're always going to hit new fears that you haven't reached before, that you haven't addressed. But when you know what you're doing, when you understand your subconscious mind, when you understand the beliefs and the part they have to play, you can reenact, like we were saying before. You just need that experience once, and then you can completely repeat it with everything else. So you come up, this is what I love with my programs, because we don't just do the healing work, it's also education. And so you're coming out with seeing the world in a completely new way, but also with a whole new set of skills to be able to do this work for yourself, and also then understand and know when, there's something here that I can't see, that I can't do for myself. I'm going to go back and find someone to help me, whatever that may be. Because that's what I do. I'll do the work myself. And then all of a sudden I'll say, Bex, I think I need some help from someone because I can't see this. I know there's something there. I can't see it. And then I'll find the right person for me. And then bam, they've unlocked it. And then I can carry on and do the work myself. But I think... the only one other thing, and it just really briefly that I wanted to say about acceptance while we're talking about this is, and we spoke about this this morning at breakfast, human design. I have to give so much credit to human design and understanding my human design for coming to a place of acceptance of myself, self-acceptance.
So much easier once you understand what you were designed to do here.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, we've done an episode on human design. You can go back and find that before, where we just briefly give you an insight into what it is. I am not a human design practitioner. I will incorporate it into my stuff. I need to do some kind of training. I've already scouted it out. It's on the outset, and I will do it because that's how much I believe.
Honestly,
it needs to be.
Isn't it?
I want to be able to. It's changed my life and the way I've come to accept myself, and I want to be able to use that in my programs, because I think if I can combine that with what I do, oh my God, it's just going to even more super. But I combine it now with the knowledge that I do have. I make sure I use that for my clients too, but I want to be able to do it more. But anyway, go back and listen to the human design episode and then dive into it for yourself, because what we did is, obviously because we're not human design experts, we've given you an insight and then offered it up to you to go and research it more if you want to. We've had a lot of people who listen to that podcast episode who have gone in and looked up their human design and said that it's been great. It's massive. It's overwhelming. Take it easy. But I promise you want to start accepting yourself and understanding yourself, because I think you need to understand. You can't have acceptance without understanding. No. Obviously, I couldn't have come to the acceptance without the understanding that I was fearing my survival and my safety. Human design gives you an understanding of yourself, of who you came into this earth to be. It will be so validating for you. But also, going back to the shadow, human design is a great way to highlight your shadow parts. So it's brilliant, because yes, it can validate you, because a lot of this stuff, we like it because it tickles our ego, doesn't it? When you read your astrology or read this stuff and you're like, oh yeah, you're a really caring, kind, considerate, empathetic person. Oh yeah, I am, aren't I? I knew it. But human design will also say, but in your shadow, you expect people to do things the way you want to do them. And it's really great because it calls you out.
It does.
And like we said in the beginning, you got to hug the cactus. You've got, thanks Bex, thanks Robert Downey Jr. Like, no, Mel, thanks Mel Gibson, right? But you have to identify. The quicker you can identify your shadow parts, the quicker you can let them go, accept them and change them and let them go. Exactly. And you understand other people as well. So just human design.
Oh, please
go look it up. It will help you understand yourself.
It really does, doesn't it? And it also gives you permission for a lot of things. A lot of your behaviours that you think are wrong actually gives you permission to be like that, because that's what you're designed to. We're not all designed to be the same.
No, and also I wanted to say as well, if you read your human design chart and you're like, this doesn't resonate. No, that's not me. Right. That's not me. Oh, that's brilliant. As long as you've got your birth time right and you've put all your details in right, if everything's correct and it doesn't resonate with you, it's showing you how out of alignment you are with who you were designed to be. Yes. So use that to think, right, well, if I am designed to be this person and that doesn't resonate with me at all, I've got some work to do. Take one point, just one section, start working on that. Because I've explained this in the Human Design podcast, so I'm not going to go into it, but just to say, when I first did my Human Design chart, half of it didn't resonate with me. Right. Now, pretty much all of it resonates with me because I used it to do the work, and I've seen how, and sometimes I'll slip into my shadow and I like to go and read my report again, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's where I'm doing it. I've gone straight out of alignment here. Let's pull it back. How am I supposed to be? And it's just such a great, it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint for your soul. You've chosen this. You chose to be this soul. You chose to come in at this exact time, at the exact point when all the planets were aligning and, all of this magical stuff, so you could be this one particular soul. But unfortunately, the programming happens. You start getting conditions. You start getting fears. You start forgetting who you are. And then you lose this blueprint and you become something that you're just not meant to be. But when you can start getting back to who you came to be in this world, like I said before, this is when your gifts start coming out. This is when you start appreciating like what a unique individual you are. You start appreciating and leaning into what you're good at and stop trying to do things that you're not built to do. Like, don't, just because someone else is great at them, that's great. Let them do that because that's what they're supposed to do. You do what you're supposed to do and you'll feel good and you'll feel great. So again, coming full circle, like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is why we're doing this work. This is why all of us are doing this work, because ultimately our soul knows that we want to live a life of happiness, of joy, of fulfillment, of peace, and to all the good stuff. That's what we've come in here to live, and we absolutely can. We just have to remember who we came in here to be, accept ourselves for all our shadow parts, love them, and accept our fears, accept our ultimate fears could happen. And trust. Like you said, like the sky is blue. The universe has got you. And life gets to be easy if you believe it to be that way. It does. And that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. No, it doesn't. But it's like I said earlier, chaos can be ensuing around you, but you are that peace, you are that calm because you trust that everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is working out for you, and every difficulty that you encounter is teaching you something and taking you to another level of acceptance. And when you do that work, you are being a lighthouse for other people. You are showing other people that they can do that work as well, and that they can feel that way too, because you don't have to tell people how to do things. Just show them. Be it. It's show them true, so they come to you and say, Bex, how are you doing that? How do you stay so calm? How is life just working out for you? And you can just be like, well, I just accept. I just I trust that everything is working out for me. I believe that everything is, and it does. That doesn't lie. Your actions don't lie. You can preach to people, but when they can see it for themselves. Exactly. That's it. Just be the example, isn't it? You don't have to try and convince anybody. No. Just it's like, living within your family unit, your kids, your husband, whave your parents. They're watching you. They're learning from you, and they don't even know it, do they? No. And they're going to take that on. I mean, how often have we changed something about ourselves or our energy, and that has made other people in your household have done the same? They don't know. No. I had a conversation about this with my client this morning. She's had the exact, so we've been working, she's been making massive changes, and she's like, my whole household has changed. My husband, my kids, everything has changed for the better. And I'm like you've done that by working on yourself. You have actually made other people's lives better, and that's the great thing about this. And once you've seen it and you've experienced it, you can't unknow it. And it changes, like I said, it changes the whole perspective. You're in control, aren't you?
be the thing that you need, be what you want, and everything will follow.
Yeah.
Namaste.
I love it. Right, well.
I feel so at peace now. I'm going to have a lovely, restful day.
And the sun's come out for us as well, hasn't it? So we have had, just a quick note, we've had so many people come and say how helpful these episodes are, how they've had aha moments, how they love listening to them. I'm so, so grateful. And all I ask is that if you feel the same, we would love for you to tell other people about this podcast, share it, leave a review or a rating because it pushes us up on the algorithm. Like I've just said to you, help me with my acceptance. I'm trying to reach as many people and help as many people as I can. We've been guided towards the podcast. The podcast is just my joy. We love it, don't we? It's just, honestly, it's something that I just look forward to doing. It's something I need. It's like it's a release.
Honestly,
and then hearing how it helps other people is just like
bonus.
It's just incredible.
And it just goes to show, do follow your joy and great things happen.
Exactly. So yes, if you could share this podcast with your friends or whoever you think would find it useful, we would really, really appreciate it. Don't forget that we have the Be Your Best You Facebook group. Come on over there. Share your things, your wins. If you have anything you'd like more like deep insights on, let us know. If you've got things you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, come over there, drop it in. We'd love to do that. We'd love to help and just answer people's questions or talk about something that's going on in your life right now, because you can guarantee other people will resonate with it and say that that's going on with them as well. So please come find us on Facebook, and with that I will say we're off.
For another week.
Yes, for another week. Another 2 weeks. Not for us. I mean, it is for us, but not for you guys. We've got to wait another 2 weeks. Anyway, right, we're going to go now. Have a lovely day, guys. Bye.